Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I kind of got ahead of myself. Forgot to record this, but anyways, I've masked off this side of the fender and the rad support. But first I wiped it down with Varsol and then some rubbing alcohol. This one I'm going to do afterwards because I have everything still hinged onto here, the relay for the evac pump and also the factory relays that are over here that I also have to take off. But this is coming out just nice. Tomorrow I will shoot this side over here. I gotta wipe that down and get that all done. But yeah, that's turned out really, really well. This car is going to be unrecognizable. And now you can see what the frame looks like after a couple of days of drying. And all up under here. And this side. Yeah, this is turning out just actually better than I expected. I'll be soon ready to get rid of this tin foil off of all the hard lines. And then after I finish doing that, I'm gonna paint here and then the firewall. And after the firewall, then I'm gonna get cracking on the harness, relume that, fix any wires that need to be fixed, anything that's loose, cut, broken, whatever the case may be. Shrink wrap a couple of them, especially the grounds on the back of the intake. That has to be done properly because that is the lifeline of the car, along with the fusible links that go down to the starter. I gotta check those ones too, because that is a bugger to do while there's an engine in the car. So all of that crap's gonna get reloomed. All grungy. So I'm gonna get new loom for that. The only part that I am going to keep, obviously, is the parts that I can't get, which is this. You cannot get that anywhere. Or this back piece here, the plastic that goes around the back of the motor to the valve cover. I'm going to recondition them, fix up the loom, put the fenders back in, get ready to get this engine back and stuff that in the car. On the next one. Well, I lied. I did put on my big girl panties. And I finished this side along with the rad support and that side. What I will leave for another day is the firewall. But At least I got my man card back. Looks really good. And I also got all inside the pockets there. One of the tricks that I learned with my own car is you loosen these 10mm bolts on the fender, and that way you can slide a piece of paper in between the fender and the outer fender. So you can slide a piece of paper in there so it's a nice clean line when you paint. You can hit the ridge and not worry about painting the rest of the car. Although at this point that really doesn't make a damn difference because we're painting this car anyways. But the good thing is you're not going to see any paint lines anywhere. Now the rad support's done. I'll let this dry overnight. And I will come back at it tomorrow or the next day and hit that fender at the back, the firewall, sorry. And that will conclude the painting that's done to the frame, firewall, fenders, and rad support. Then I can focus on painting the brake booster and the little stuff like this. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that, along with this line here, because it's got some gouges in it, so still have yet to figure that part out. But my thing with this car is everything is going a satin black. That's the actual car itself. Frame, fenders, firewall, etc. All satin black. Anything that is a bracket is going to go gloss black. So the rad support bracket I did in a gloss black. I'm going to do the brake booster, just the canister, in a gloss black. The line, the bracket that goes over here for the map sensor and the ESC module, that's going to be gloss black. The one for the cruise control, gloss black. The one for the power steering reservoir, that's going to be gloss black. So that's my plan. Anything car related that stays car related, that's going to be all in a satin finish. Anything that's a bracket that hooks up to the car is going to be done in gloss, aside with all of the stuff that's on the engine. So this is going to be a new color scheme for this one. It had blue under there. We're ditching the blue. We're going all black. This is going to be a black tie affair. It'll look really nice. Alright, see you in the next one. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be painting this firewall, but you can see how quickly things will get out of control just to do a proper job. So I've done a whole lot before I even put the camera on this. I had to support the transmission, take the straps off so I can drop this thing down, keep the harness out of the way. I sanded this thing over, wiped it down with Varsol, then took a Scotch-Brite pad, went over it, and then prepped it with the rubbing alcohol compound. In order to get a proper job done on this, I realized I couldn't mask around the motor for the windshield wipers, so that had to come out, and as you can see, all this needs to be painted too. So I had cleaned, Varsoled, used the rubbing alcohol in this whole area over here, in through here, around the C100 connector, by the fuse box. Taped all of this off because this is going gloss black. Kind of keeping all this stuff away. And now I'm getting ready to paint. Simple as it is, I already have a couple hours into just this alone. But once it's painted, it won't look like it was painted. You'll just think it's just flows with the rest of this, because I've already done all of this, all of this. The entire frame is done. So this is the tail end of it. We're just going to see how well it looks when I'm done. Give me a bit. I'm going to put some coat of paint on this. Alright, that's the 2 coats of paint there. You can see I got all up in there. The firewall. And I also shot the canister. So I'm just going to let this dry back. Give it another coat and call it a day. Then after that I am going to take the tinfoil off and secure the hard lines back to the frame. And then start cleaning up the harness. Let's freaking go, buddy. Yeah, that looks good. Definitely not the same car that came in here. Alright, on to the next. Well, look what else I picked up. Got the engine back. All nicely mummy wrapped. Got to get this dressed too. Put it on the engine stand and start dressing it, put the headers on and all the other stuff. Motor mounts, flywheel, etc. But I'm basically going to drop this engine in just like this. Pretty much put all the accessories on the front. But nothing is going up here. I'm keeping all of the fuel rails and crap like that off of it just because of the strap. It's going under the intake. So all this upper part will be done when it's in the car. But yeah, this is starting to look like Christmas. Alright. Now that I'm just cleaning up and putting this car back up in the air, I'll show you the underside of it. Remember when this is all full of all that, I don't know if it was salt, if it was just clay or dirt or whatever it is, but this is what it looks like from underneath. The whole rad support. Let's see under here. This came out really nicely. Power steering box. All the steering components. Yeah. And now you can see up in the fender here. Yeah, this is the eye candy stage. This is when everything starts getting put back together. And starting to take shape. This is where all the prep comes into effect now that you see the paint on it. Alright, I'm going to let this dry. That's it for today. Tomorrow I'm going to do the brake booster and some of the other brackets that support the brake line to the actual frame over here on both sides, and then I'm going to take the tin foil off and secure all of the hard lines. Till tomorrow. Alright, today we are entering the phase part of painting the brake booster. As you can see, the firewall has already dried. And over here, so I've masked off this area. And we're ready to shoot it with some paint. I'll be right back. And that is going to conclude it for this week. So the brake booster shot. You can see how nicely the satin black worked on the firewall. That's going to be gloss black. I also sanded and reshot this AC line here, gloss black. Also, the bracket on both sides of the car that secures to the frame for the brake line is gloss black. And that is going to conclude the painting inside this engine compartment. Or maybe not, but close to it. I'm going to shoot this, but I'm going to shoot this afterwards as the very final thing, because me leaning over the car, putting in the engine and all the rest of that stuff, that's still going to be an area that's going to be touched all the time, so I'm going to do that at the very end. What I did is I hit it with a Scotch-Brite pad, scuffed it up, tried to take all the rough texture feel out of it like I did this one, and then shot it with the gloss black. So that concludes it for this week, boys. Till next week, or next video, when I take care of the harness, put the fenders back in, and get this thing ready to drop the engine back in on the next one.